Surah Al-Imran verse 6. It is He who forms you in the wombs however He wills. There is no deity except Him, the exalted in might, the wise. Summary of the interpretation of verse 6 of Surah Al-Imran. To clarify the verse that God shapes us in the wombs as He wills, we must discuss the beginning of God's creation of man in the womb, the stages of creation in the mother's womb, and the formation from the material created by God Almighty, from which the fetus is formed, the man's sperm and the woman's water. Then God Almighty creates the soul in it, and by the will of God Almighty, God creates males and females. God Almighty creates from the physical attributes whatever He wills. God Almighty creates the tall, the short, and the dwarfs. God creates the white and the black. God creates the healthy and the mentally or visually disabled, etc. God Almighty creates whatever He wills from the intellectual attributes. He creates the distinction in various thoughts and talents. By the will of God, He makes whomever He wills sterile, unable to procreate, and He does not procreate except by the will of God. No matter how advanced science is, this is the will of God. God is the one who created science and created the minds of scientists and helped them to reach science by the will of God Almighty. If God did not will that, no one would have been able to advance with science. Science is one of God's soldiers, whom God has harnessed to serve society, because God is the creator of the universe and wants to populate it with goodness, and science is good. If science is able to reach a treatment for some cases in which God wills them to have children, after they have been unable to have children for a period of time, then this is God's success and will as well. And if science knows the gender of the fetus or controls genes and other things, it is necessary to let the world know that science utilizes the materials created by God, and through them science has advanced. God is the creator of the same material with which He created man. No one can create this material with which He created man, nor create the soul that God created. Science is a process by God's command and works on the materials that God left behind. As for the soul, all of it is God's creation. By God's will and power, the world has succeeded in utilizing the materials that God created to understand the genes that control sex or appearance. God Almighty, by His will, power, glory, and wisdom, creates us and shapes us in our mother's wombs as He wills. He is all-powerful and all-wise. He does what He wills and creates. He alone is worthy of worship.